Hey, Glovelies, and welcome back to Glove Actually. I'm Courtney.
And I'm Melissa.
And this week, I am so excited. We have lots to talk about. We're going to talk all about, once again, the 2025 Orioles season. But later, I am so excited. We are going to be joined by our internet bestie, AdleysIntern. But as always, if there is anything you want us to talk about on the podcast, be sure to leave it in the comments and be sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, and turn on post notifications to stay in the loop when we post new episodes every Wednesday. All right, Melissa, let's kick things off with our Pookies of the week. Who is your Pookie of the week?
Okay, I have two. I know we don't usually do two. One's MLB, one's an honorable mention for the week. For this week, my MLB Pookie is Jordan Westburg. Jordan Westburg was recently recognized by the Orioles as their nominee for the 2025 Roberto Clemente Award, which recognizes him for not only his baseball performance, but his outreach to the community. He's performed a lot of volunteer work in Baltimore, and he and his wife helped unveil a renovated outdoor classroom at Harlem Park Elementary, Middle School in Baltimore. And what I love about Jordan is when they asked him about his nomination, he gave so much credit to his faith. He stressed his partnership with his wife. And he said that basically he wants to use the platform that he has been given to serve something greater than himself. So I really love that. And I think it's admirable and I think it's inspiring. So thank you for everything you do, Jordan Westburg.
Shout out Jordan Westburg.
Yes, love you, Jordan Westburg. Cannot wait.
Very Pookie. We love that.
But then my non-MLB Pookie of the week, just because of when this is airing, it is airing during my anniversary week. So I do want to give a shout out to my husband.
Aww.
Yes, we've been married 16 years this week. Can't believe it's been that long. But he is sincerely one of the best people that I know. He's an amazing father, and he's the reason for so many great things in my life, including the reason why I am an Orioles fan. So I just want to say I'm lucky he signed up for a lifetime of my crazy. Love you, handsome. You're the sunshine of my life.
That's so sweet.
Oh, thanks.
I'm so single. My Pookie this week is Josh Lowe of the Tampa Bay Rays. I don't really know when I sort of started having this attachment to Josh Lowe. I think it was last year around the time that Hallie and I would go to the Trop just to go to the Trop and see baseball. A lot of times we would sit in different spots, and one of our favorite places to sit was actually in the outfield in right field where Josh Lowe plays. And he's nice to look at, but he does a lot within the community. And I think he's just a very nice, humble guy. So for that reason, Josh Lowe, this week, you are my Pookie of the week.
I love it. And of course, you know how that started, sitting out there. That's how it happens. You're in
how it happens.
Like, hey, who dat?
Who dat? All right, Lovelies, we want to hear from you. Who is your Pookie of the week? Be sure to let us know in the comments and tag your Pookie if you can. So now the moment that you or I have been waiting for. Today, we are joined by our pal, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, meme lords and bird watchers of all ages, prepare yourselves for the master of the meme game, the sultan of sarcasm, the undisputed king of Orioles comedy from deep inside the Camden Yards bullpen, armed with nothing but Wi-Fi and wicked wit, rebuilt from the ground up after a devastating Instagram ban. He's the intern who never clocks out, the meme machine you can't unfollow. He is AdleysIntern.
That might been the greatest intro I ever received in my entire life. Thank you.
I told you it was going to be epic.
Yeah, you were not lying. Not lying. I appreciate that.
Of course.
Glad to be here.
I'm so glad that you are here.
Me too. I'm so excited. Oh, can't wait.
So for those of you who don't know, I've said this before on the podcast, but in addition to operating Glove Actually, I also run a Rhino Hearn fan account on Instagram. And before I did that, one of my first friends within the online Orioles community was AdleysIntern, who was kind enough to kind of go back and forth with me just as a regular human civilian person. And then, yeah, after we forged a little bit of a friendship, I was like, I think I want to make a Ryan O'Hearn account. Oh, I'm such a big fan of him. And immediately he was like, you should do it. You've got to do it.
I really kind of love this because you and I bonded over Ryan O'Hearn. That's how we ended up bonding.
Yeah.
We're like, oh God, we love Ryan O'Hearn. But like I was saying a little while ago, AdleysIntern happened to be one of my very, very first followers underneath my Orioles fan account, which is Positive Oriole Vibes. So it's kind of funny. It's like we all just bonded in the beginning, like the early stages of our, well, not so much yours, AdleysIntern, but for us, it's like you helped build up our accounts. So
it's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Hey, I'm just trying to put people on. I love to put people on. You know, I love to help, others with their growth,
Yes.
So
yeah. And I mean, even though we tend to sulk a lot in our despair when the Orioles lose, but genuinely, I feel like there is no one else who I would rather get hype with when the Orioles win. So just overall, I just think that speaks to how you kind of like to exist within the Instagram space. Obviously, there's ups and downs to every season, but at the end of the day, you do keep it positive, and that's what I love to see. So I really appreciate you for that. You're the best.
Of course. I appreciate y'all. The kind words made me a lot. I appreciate it.
Of course. Okay, so I gotta know, who is your Pookie of the week this week?
Well, so for my Pookie of the week, well, besides Adley, because he's my Pookie every day.
Of course.
Yes. I'm gonna go with one of the unks from this year, Charlie Morton. I know he just got DFA by Detroit. I think Atlanta just picked him up not so long ago.
Yeah, break my heart into a million pieces as a certified Braves hater.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like if there was a personification of a 180, it probably would be Charlie Morton this year. It's been a very, very interesting year, with Charlie Morton. But he's had a long career, World Series win. If it's like the last year of his career, I'm glad he gets to go out, with the Braves, one of the teams that he had a long time of success with,
I think the Orioles are definitely better having had him on the team. It's kind of nice when you get the older players in who are a little bit more established, because the Orioles typically tend to skew so young. It's nice when you have a presence who's been in the league for a long time. And Charlie Morton was another one of those voices who had the experience within Major League Baseball, and he's seen the ups and downs. But I think to kind of make that little bit of a more circular journey back to the Braves, like you said, if this is his last year, I'm glad that he gets to go back to a club that he's already got some rapport with.
But I do love Charlie Morton. I loved watching Charlie Morton's press conferences after the games because Charlie was always so candid and so honest in his, just about his own performance, about the team. And you don't get a lot of that. And I think Charlie was really good at being just upfront about, his own performance and, his emotions tied to his performance.
Definitely. Okay, so now that we've kind of sort of gotten that out of the way, I do want to talk a little bit more about the overall 2025 Orioles season. There's been a lot of highs and lows, and then I'm going to give you a rapid fire quiz just to give the Glovelies a chance to get to know you a little bit better, and then get your takes on our top 5 for the week. Sound good?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Awesome. Okay, so what do you think is the Orioles' biggest obstacle they need to overcome in the offseason?
Well, for me, I think it's either the lack of depth on the pitching staff. I feel like we should be able to go into the free agency and pay for better arms. Not saying that guys like Shigano, Charlie Morton was bad in a grand scheme of things, but I feel like with the money that we have, we could do so much better. So I say either the lack of depth of the pitching staff or the coaching. And honestly, I'm more so leaning towards coaching because I look back at 2022 when Chris Holt was our pitching coach. That was probably the perfect example of doing a lot with less than other teams. So definitely either pitching staff or coaching for me.
Well, this is a conversation I've actually had with my dad, of all people. Shout out Todd. We've talked a lot about how there's so many pitching injuries, and I think this is actually an issue that's kind of prevalent league-wide rather than specific to the Orioles. Pitching nowadays is just so much different and so much more intense than it used to be, and I feel like these guys are running themselves ragged trying to throw harder and faster. pressure every time. Do you put it on the coaches to be like, okay, well, you have a lot of power, but let's reel it back to make sure that 2 months you're not looking Tommy John surgery in the face? So I definitely agree with you. I think the coaching aspect of it is going to be a big thing. So I would like to see some changes and some shuffling around with that. But yeah, pitching, I was having a conversation with another friend before the season even started, and he was like, I don't have high hopes for this.
Wow,
But
way to call it.
that's what I'm
Call it.
saying. Every time Trevor Rogers would like just chip away at that ERA, I would like get in his face and I'm like, what you know, come at me. What do you think, Melissa?
It's funny because I've had a similar conversation with my husband actually about how I agree. Like maybe it is with the coaching there. I also wonder a lot about the batting coaches. I think we need to hire Matt Holliday as a batting coach because whatever he did the Jackson swing at the beginning of the season was working. That's what I would like to see.
Yeah.
I think the batting coaches need to work on making them consistent across the board and not just one-hit wonders every now and then.
That's also something the Padres have been struggling with specifically lately within the last, I would say like 3 or so weeks is consistency. You know, I know a lot earlier in the season with the Orioles, it was like, what team is going to show up today?
Yes.
And I think a lot of it at the beginning of the season was kind of looped into, okay, well, who's pitching? Oh, okay, well, Charlie Morton's pitching. It's the first few weeks of the season. Oh, well, Charlie Morton's been, you know, really dragging us down. Like, oh, well, we got to kind of power through this and, you know, hope that we end up with more runs at the end of the day. But I do think the starting rotation really tightened up by the end of the season. I will give them credit for that.
And it helped that we got Bradish back and we got Wells back. Like everyone came off the injured list around the same time, and that helped.
The only thing missing is G-Rod. That's really like one of the
Yes.
main pieces, G-Rod.
Yeah.
I don't know when he's going to be healthy, but
From what I heard, the last update that I think we got was that his elbow debridement surgery went well. I'm sorry, I need to Google what is elbow debridement surgery because I keep forgetting. Elbow debridement is a surgical procedure that involves removing damaged or inflamed tissue from the elbow joint. So as far as I'm aware, the healing from that, I feel like he should be slated to return sometime in the middle of next season, ? Don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
I'm not a verified source. For the longest time this season, it was, oh, when is Grayson coming back? And then once it got to the point with Grayson where it was like, oh, Grayson's not coming back this season. It's like that meme from American Horror Story. Grayson Rodriguez isn't coming back this season, you stupid slut.
The preview for this episode is going to be amazing.
Grayson Rodriguez isn't coming back this season, you stupid slut.
Oh my God, but it's true. It's kind of just like, oh, Grayson's going to save us. Grayson's going to save us. Grayson didn't come to save us.
It's taking me a long time to write Grayson Rodriguez isn't coming back this season, you stupid slut, on this piece of paper. I hope I don't get murdered and the police like find my body and right next to my dead body is just Grayson Rodriguez isn't coming back this season, you stupid slut.
Somebody's
that'd
like,
be a great note for them to have. You know.
Someone's like, thanks for the murder note.
Someone's gonna be like, this is why she ended it all. Case closed.
See, they already got the evidence right there.
This is all the evidence that we need.
Yeah, Grayson Rodriguez does not return on time. That's cause of death right there.
Oh
Cause
my
of death.
God.
Yes. So now that we've done all of that, we're going to hit you with some rapid fire questions so the Glovelies can get to know you a little bit better. Are you ready? Okay. All right. Favorite sport?
Baseball.
Favorite sports team?
Orioles.
Obviously. Favorite current active athlete?
Besides athlete, Lamar.
Okay. Period. Favorite athlete of all time?
Kobe.
Okay. Favorite movie?
Shrek. Just Shrek.
Shrek.
Gotta go with the
Solid choice. Okay, hold on. This might be an unpopular opinion. I think Shrek 2 is better than Shrek 1.
That's not outlandish to say.
And I think Toy Story 2 is better than Toy Story 1 as well. But it's sort of like the thing of like, I think the sequel, Shrek 2 and Toy Story 2, they both do a really great job of building on the world. So 11 out of 10. That's a great choice.
I do like the storyline in Shrek too.
Yeah.
It's fun when you add in Puss in Boots, man.
And the fairy godmother. Come on. She's
iconic.
iconic.
Man, she's crazy.
I love it.
Yeah, Prince Charming too.
Absolutely. Yes. Okay. All right. Comfort TV show.
I've been on a big King of the Hill binge, so I'm gonna say King of the Hill.
All right.
Solid. Favorite ballpark snack?
Peanuts.
Okay.
Peanuts.
Love it. If you played baseball, what would your walk-up song be?
Cult of Personality by Living Color.
Ooh,
I think I put
wow.
it as I think you asked that question once on
I think I did, yeah.
yeah,
It was
and I
like
answered Cult of
it was one of
Personality.
the first things when I started my turn and burn account. I asked like, oh, like what would your walk-up song be? We actually talked about that in the walk-up song episode too.
You did. I love that. And you know what?
Um,
Well, going back to the walk-up song episode, you know how I said that there's that book has walk-up songs at the beginning of every chapter?
Yeah.
That's one of the songs.
okay, period. Love it.
Yeah.
All right, last but not least, what is your favorite sports memory?
Ooh, gotta be the Ravens winning the Super Bowl
Okay.
2013.
Okay.
I remember being at a party. I was at a Buffalo Wild Wings, and then all of a sudden we just went to somebody's party. I don't even remember who party it was, but I was just with my mom
I
and my family at them.
I remember when the Ravens won the Super Bowl that year, I broke somebody's couch
Nice.
from jumping on it because I was so excited. I was in a room full of 49ers fans.
Oh my god, it's so
Oh, that must have been crazy.
Oh yeah.
Must have been very
Well,
fun.
they were bandwagon 49ers fans because they were all Redskins or Commanders fans. But and I was like the only Ravens fan in the room. So I was so excited when we won. I jumped and I broke somebody's couch. I do apologize. I'm so sorry. That was
Did it for the love of the game.
for the love of the game, for real. Okay. All right. So moving on, Glovelies, we're going to dive right into our top 5 of the week. This week's top 5, we are going to be talking about the top 5 Orioles moments of 2025. Trey, would you like to go first?
Yes, I would. With my number 5, best Oriole moments, I would go with Corbin Martin shuts the door in Fenway.
Okay.
Okay.
Honestly, that was one of the best times to be an Orioles fan, probably around that time. About out the whole year was, during that time. And I talked about Corbin Martin before. That was a very good moment for me.
Melissa, what's your number 5?
Back-to-back sweeps against White Sox and the Mariners are first sweeps, and they happen to be back-to-back in the season. So, I mean, I feel like at that point, we were starting to get kind of hopeless, I feel like, a little bit. And then the fact that they were able to make those wins, and they did 6 in a row, and we got on a streak, it was kind of like, oh, there's hope back. And it was not too long after Hyde had gotten fired, too. So it was kind of like, ooh,
Yeah.
there's hope. So
Sitting at like a weird spot. I love that. My number 5 is when the Orioles finally decided to bring up Samuel Basallo. I feel like that was one of the most talked about things that everyone was constantly talking about. It was when is Samuel Basallo coming up? When it finally happened, it was just like, oh, okay, well, obviously. It was nice to see the fans who were expecting it actually get to see it come to fruition. Yeah. And I'm a very sentimental person, so I am a sucker for when anyone makes their major league debut. When Brandon Young made his earlier in the season, I was a little emo. So when they brought up Samuel Basallo, and then that was definitely a big one for me. All right, Trey, what is your number 4?
Well, it's kind of ironic how you mentioned Brandon Young, because that's actually going to be my number 4 spot. His almost no-hitter in Houston. Before you know it was broken up by, Razor Ramon Urias.
Razor Ramon.
Like if we got that Brandon Young, if we had that Brandon Young consistently, man, he would be so good.
Agreed. I know. And I kind of love, I mean, it sucked that it wasn't a no-hitter, but the fact that it was Urias, I was like, okay, all right, I'm okay with
That kind of pissed me off. I'm not gonna lie. That kind of did piss
really?
me off.
You're like, damn it, Urias.
It's one of those things where it's like it almost rubs like a little bit of salt in the wound, but also at the same time, you're like, okay, well, you know what? I can't really be that mad at him because
I love Urias.
He's kooky. Also, shout out Brandon Young for having an immaculate inning.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, that is true.
I don't know if that's on anyone's top 5, but yeah. Big shout out Brandon Young. Melissa, what is your number 4?
The last game before the trade deadline against Toronto.
Oh God.
Yeah. I think one, you had Sedi's amazing save where he just climbed the freaking wall like Spider-Man. You could tell O'Hearn knew that it was his last game, just the way he was taking it all in. Like it was, that whole series was so fun to watch, and it was kind of like, it's like they had finally started to gel only to be broken up the next day.
After the Rays series in July, I was texting Rob Long from Masson, and I was talking about Ryan O'Hearn, and he was like, yeah, don't expect him to see him in an O's uniform after this month. And I was just like, don't say that. that. Don't you dare say that.
Just being brutally honest. Damn.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it happened. So I'm going to be so real with you guys. I cried watching that game. I
did too.
I'm still processing it. Every time I watch a freaking Padres game, I'm like,
That's
this
how I
is
feel
wrong.
about Seti.
Yeah.
See him in New York, and to see him struggle just makes it even worse. Because
I know.
we do.
My number 4 is going to be Tampa Bay Rays adjacent. It is the 22-8 victory over the Tampa Bay Rays on June 27th. At some point, you just gotta say, you know what? I think we're done here, but they never do. And I always love a football score at the end of a baseball game. That's always so fun to me. So the 22-8 victory over Tampa Bay was my number 4. Trey, number 3?
Yeah, sweeping the Mariners is my number 3. And basically what you said earlier, winning 6 in a row, going back to the White Sox series. But sweeping the Mariners in general, that was a big thing for us.
Yeah, it was. I just remember thinking like, oh shit, their record's close to ours. Like the White Sox was expected. I mean, but the Mariners.
But to know that we could like sweep a playoff team like the Mariners, just gives us more confidence for next year. So I love that.
Melissa, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is 22 runs against Tampa Bay at home. And then, of course, you also had Kobe Mayo's first home run in that game. Again, that was one of those like, damn, why can't you guys do this every night? Like, show some consistency or take those 22 runs and spread them out. Some of the other games.
Yeah. Save some for tomorrow.
Yes.
My number 3 is, I know you're going to be surprised that this isn't higher up on the list, but the 30th anniversary of 21-31 on September 6th, where we had a walk-off win over the Los Angeles Dodgers and won 3-4 at home. And that was when we broke up Yoshi's no-hitter with all those runs. Jackson broke it up, and then we got the walk-off win. That was the definition of Orioles magic. Trey, what's your number 2?
My number 2 would be actually the game before Basayo's walk-off against Terrence Scott.
Okay.
That's my second favorite moment. Top 2 is going to be very recent, as you could probably guess, but those were 2 moments where I was just like, man, we got something here for next year.
Oh, you're going to hate my number 2.
Oh, go ahead.
I have my reasons, but it was the Padres sweep. And I say that because I have a friend who is a Padres fan, and we were messaging, and I was like, he's like, you want to make a bet? And I'm like, no.
You have a Padres fan who's a friend who's not me?
Yes, I do.
I feel like you're cheating on me, Melissa. What the hell?
Oh boy.
He's like, do you want to make a bet? And I'm like, no, I don't want to make a bet. I was like, we're not going to win this. We're not going to win one game. I was like, oh, her and Loriano are going to tap dance on her grave. No, I don't want to make a bet. And then we won the first night. And then the second night. And then by the third night, I was just like, what? Who is this team? Where have we been? How are we beating the Padres? So it was very exciting for me. Plus, I definitely loved seeing O'Hearn, get back with the team, giving everybody a hug. Like, I loved that. But I was not expecting it, and it was a great surprise.
My number 2 is going to be the first walk-off win of the season against the Mariners on August 13th. This team waited so long to get that walk-off win.
Yeah.
They struggled through so much, and it was so apparent when it was like they had been holding in a breath the whole season, and they finally let it out. And I feel like that was such a turning point. It was 2 weeks after the trade deadline, and that turning point really shifted and kicked everything really into high gear. They started to relax a little bit more. They started to really kind of find their groove again, and sort of like, it's like Mufasa in the clouds telling Simba, like, remember who you are. That was their remember who you are moment.
Yes. I love that. And way to go, Jackson Holiday.
Way to go, Jackson Holiday.
It's the first walk
It's
off.
a Jet 2 holiday right there. My number 1, it has to be the Rivera walk off.
Absolutely.
It has to be. That was one of the most insane games to watch.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
To go from being no hit.
Melissa knows I don't need any excuse to bring up Emmanuel Rivera. I love Emmanuel Rivera.
Oh, shout out Emmanuel Rivera again.
If Emmanuel Rivera has 0 fans, it means I am dead.
He gets
Real.
so many shout outs.
Truly.
Oh my God.
Oh, but yeah, no, I'm right there with you.
And that's
Yeah.
actually my number one too. Which was the 2-1-3-1 game, right? That was
Yeah.
the 2-1-3-1 game. Yeah. So that is definitely my number one. That game was insane. I mean, because we were down almost that entire game, and that 9th inning was balls to the wall. It was so great. I can't imagine being a fan like you went to that game and you gave up and you left. Can you imagine those assholes?
Well, if that was me, I would have slapped myself silly.
Yes. Like,
Like I would not. I would be in church next Sunday at the altar on my knees begging God for forgiveness.
yeah.
I feel like that would be a
Sorry,
horrible
I'm
sin right there.
yes. But yes, the 2-1-3-1 game is definitely my number one. Like that was just the epitome of Orioles magic.
My number one, I'm going to throw it all the way back to March 27th, 2025. It was opening day for Major League Baseball, and the Orioles played their first game against the Toronto Blue Jays. Let me just go ahead and run you through the lineup of this game. In the leadoff spot, Colton Cowser. Batting second, Adley Rutschman. Batting third, Jordan Westberg. In the 4-hole, Ryan O'Hearn. Batting fifth, Tyler O'Neill, who hit 2 home runs that day.
2 home runs that night. Yep.
And Tyler O'Neill has had a 6-season streak of homering on opening day. Fun fact. Batting sixth, Ryan Mountcastle. Batting seventh, Cedric Mullins. Batting eighth, Ramon Urias. And batting ninth, Jackson Holiday. Also, it was the first time they were playing Anthony Santander.
Yes. And
I forgot he was a J. He's been injured for so long. I genuinely forgot he was a J.
I think he's like about to come back.
Yeah, he's in rehab right now. He started rehab this week.
And also starting pitcher, Zach Eflin.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Wow.
It's so crazy to look at that lineup and see how much things have changed. And,
oh my God,
yeah, that opening day start is going to be a trivia for now.
That is like, looking at that lineup, you gotta, like, the only song that plays in my brain is Night Changes by One Direction. Does it ever drive you crazy? Just how fast the night changes. ASCAP's going to come for me. I'm sorry, I got to stop. Toronto had a stacked lineup too. I'm not going to lie. And it was so great to see this team come out and be so energetic and so aggressive right off the bat. All in all, I think that this was a very memorable season, and I'm gonna wax poetic for a moment. This baseball season has completely changed my life, and I mean that with all sincerity. So this was a great episode just to kind of review everything that went on this season, especially with the two of you. Like, you guys were my first like Orioles internet friends. So yeah. I think with this culture that we currently live in, especially with social media, when we take on the role of content creators, we do have a sense of responsibility to kind of come at things from a more sensible standpoint. And
more political way.
Yeah. Being able to combine that with humor, which so many people use as a coping mechanism to deal with whatever they've got going on. It sounds so weird, but it's such a powerful thing. And I think that that's why I, liked interacting with you so much, Trey, before I made my own account. And when I made my account, I know it's not memes. It's all just pictures of Ryan O'Hearn. Sorry.
I mean, it's memes sometimes.
Yeah.
Like the trade deadline,
do.
that was your best post because of the meme.
I'm not gonna lie. That the Thanos post that I made at the trade deadline is, I think it's second only to the Ryan O'Hearn like career span post that I made right before the All-Star game.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was a good one too. Yeah.
Those are like my two big ones. So I think that again, using humor as a coping mechanism is something that's, so common. And I feel like to be able to combine it with such like a niche interest and such niche references that we have, I think it shows so much creativity just on our part. So shout out us.
Yeah, way to go, us.
Us, the big three right here. The big three.
Hell yeah. All right, lovely. So before we wrap up today, we are going to leave you with some recommended media for this week. Once again, brought to you by our very own No Regrets reader. Take it away, Melissa.
All right. So since Robert Redford just died recently, we are going to pay tribute to him and to one of the greatest baseball movies ever made, The Natural. So it was released in 1984. So this is an old one, guys. It is based on a book, The Natural by Bernard Malamud. I have not read that book. I'm going to have to make a note to myself to go back and actually read the book. I'm breaking my rules about watching the movie first. But anyways, it is based on a book. It does have an all-star cast, including, of course, Robert Redford, as I just mentioned. It has Glenn Close. It has Robert Duvall, really young Kim Basinger, and Wilford Brimley, who I think most people would know him right now as the diabetes guy. Premise of the movie: Robert Redford plays Ray Hobbs. He's from Nebraska, and he has a hell of an arm. So as he's growing up, his dad recognizes his talent, but he tells Ray, hey, you know what? Talent's not going to be the only thing that gets you places. It's not going to get you to the big league. It also takes hard work and dedication. His dad dies suddenly of a heart attack, and Ray commits himself to becoming a famous baseball player. So at the age of 19, he leaves home to try out for the Chicago Cubs. And along the way, he meets the Whammer, who's supposed to be a fictional version of Babe Ruth. The two have some competitive tension, and while they're on their way to Chicago, they stop at a fair and they decide to have a friendly bet. Can Ray strike out the Whammer? But the whole point of this is during the course of that bet, he catches the eye of this mentally unstable fan. She stalks him a little bit and she approaches him, asks him if he thinks he's the best there ever was. And when he answers yes, she shoots him in the abdomen, which basically ends his entire journey to become a Chicago Cub. All right, so 16 years later, after healing, bouncing around in the minors a little bit, Ray is signed as a rookie right fielder to the New York Knights, who happens to be an MLB team that's currently in last place. The manager, Pop Fisher, who is played by Wilford Brimley, diabetes, he is not happy about the new player that just got signed without his knowledge. And he immediately tells Ray, hey, you're way too old to be a rookie. Prove his point, he refuses to even play him. The Knights continue to lose. And before giving Ray a chance to play, Pop says, I'm going to send you back to the minor league. And then Ray says, you didn't even give me a chance to play. So Pop sends him to batting practice to give him a chance to prove himself. And then he eats his words all about Ray being too old when Ray proceeds to knock out every single ball right out of the park. So then the player who currently plays right field passes away unexpectedly. So Ray gets a chance to play a permanent position on the team. So with the addition of him to the team, the Knights kind of find a groove and they find their way to victory. But as Ray rises to fame, he gets distracted by a woman. Her name is Memo Paris. That's Kim Basinger, a really young Kim Basinger. But anyways, when he starts dating Memo, love that name.
Memo Paris.
Memo Paris. He unwittingly also gets pulled into a gambling scandal. And then his luck begins to take a nosedive. And it isn't until his hometown sweetheart, that's Glenn Close, she shows back up in his life, and that's when his luck begins to turn around. So anyways, this is a story about persistence. It's about never giving up on your dreams, but more importantly, it's about staying centered while you achieve those dreams. Ray definitely wants to play baseball. He wants to be the best. He wants his focus to be baseball. But more than once on the way to achieving those dreams, he gets distracted, and it's his downfall. It's when he begins to stray away from the best person that he can be. You see it the first time when he gets shot because, he got distracted by the crazy stalker lady. You see it the second time when he gets distracted by Memo. And it's not until he begins to remember where he's from, where he came from, and focus back on the girl that he loved originally, Glenn Close, back to his original plans and goals. That's when he begins to succeed, when he remembers who he is and where he came from. So it's really about staying centered while you achieve your dreams. And, you know, you have some themes of, you know, corruption versus redemption. So anyways, it is a really good movie. Again, it's an older movie. Probably, you know, not everyone's going to probably appreciate it because it is an older movie, but it is a classic, and it is in one of the top 10 baseball movies of all time list. So
I feel like a lot of baseball movies are set in the 1950s, and I feel like that was almost like kind of I want to say like a golden era of baseball. It's when I feel like modern baseball really started to take shape. So I feel like there was a lot more development that is reflective of the game that we know and love today. Definitely love some of the period baseball movies. Like A League of Their Own is always really great.
Yeah, we will definitely talk League of Their Own at some point. That is one of my favorites.
Oh yeah. Have you guys seen 42?
You know, I haven't seen 42, but it's on my list.
It's so good. Oh my gosh. Chadwick Boseman plays Jackie Robinson. It's phenomenal. All right. Well, Glovelies, that's going to do it for this episode of Glove Actually. I would like to take a moment to shout out our bestie, Trey, for joining us today. Trey, where can our listeners find you if they want to follow more of your content?
So they can find me on Instagram at just AdleysIntern. AdleysIntern is where everything's at. Everything's at. If you want to see memes, discussions about baseball, not even just baseball, because basketball season's coming up too. I'm gonna be doing, you know, Lakers content because I'm a Lakers fan.
All
So you'll
right.
probably see some Lakers content here and there. So yeah, just it's fun over here. You know, we have fun.
It's not just about Adley.
Always.
Yes, it's not.
Always.
It may be all about Adley, but sometimes it's
not in the off season. I love it.
All right. Well, once again, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for listening. Be sure to follow us and subscribe to the podcast, and be sure to turn on post notifications to stay in the loop when we post new episodes every Wednesday. So just to wrap up, what are you guys looking forward to most this week in the world of baseball? Who do you hope has fun this week?
Mine's not baseball. Mine is book related. When this episode releases, one of my favorite authors of all time, who puts the calm in rom-com, Megan Quinn, is going to be releasing her next book. It is called Merry Christmas, You Filthy Animal. Yes, it is probably going to have some Home Alone themes in there. That's what she does. She takes a rom-com movie and she turns it into a book that's kind of similar. It releases on 10/14. So shout out Megan Quinn. I'm super excited to read it. And a new Christmas themed novel for us to get into at some point.
I will say I have some fans who are Mariners fans because they live in Seattle. So I'm just happy for them because obviously they were born way before the Mariners were in the playoffs, you know, at a consistent rate. So they know nothing about the playoffs until like 2022. So to see them make it again this year, I've been happy for them. So it's been happy. I'm looking forward to see what they do in the playoffs.
That's
Yeah.
very fair. I've been saying for a while, and I hope that this hasn't aged poorly by the time that this episode airs. I said at the trade deadline, the World Series was going to be Mariners Padres. So
you put it out in the universe again.
I put it out into the universe again. So we'll see what happens.
Yep.
I do genuinely hope so. But in the spirit of that, I'm going to choose someone from the Padres and someone from the Mariners. So from the Padres, I hope Gavin Sheets has fun this week. Gavin Sheets is a great player, and he's also a great friend of Ryan O'Hearn. So any old friend of Ryan O'Hearn's is a friend of mine. And
also triggered a who dat moment from ages.
Yes. And speaking of a who dat moment, my shout out from the Mariners is going to be Brian Wu.
All right.
The first time I saw Brian Wu, I was like, who dat? So I hope that he is having a great time. And of course, I hope Cal Raleigh's having a good time too. He's having a historic season. And if it was up to me, he would be the American League MVP. All right. Well, this has been Glove Actually. I'm Courtney.
Melissa.
I'm Trey, aka AdleysIntern.
And thank you so much for joining us today. Have a great week, Glovelies. As always, be kind, keep it cute, and stay glovely.
Stay glovely.
Great job, everybody.
Yay.
Oh my God. I think this is legitimately the longest that we've ever recorded for.
You know, I'm like looking at the clock. I'm like, damn, we're still going.